All right, what's up, Math 8? So today we're doing two-step equations. This is section 2.2. All right, so this is coming right off the back of 2.1, where we did just one-step equations. That was this. So solving equations with rational coefficients. All right, so this is 2.2. Now we have two steps. It's the same thing. We're just throwing in an extra step. All right. So a few reminders for you, okay? The inverse means opposite. So whenever I say inverse, I just mean opposite, okay? To isolate, that means to get something by itself. So when you hear me say isolate the variable, that means get the variable on one side of the equal sign all by itself, okay? And constant, that is a number that does not have a variable. All right, so for example, that 3 is not a constant. Okay, if I had 3x minus 4, that negative 4, that is a constant. And remember, that minus sign goes with the 4. Okay, so it's a negative 4. All right, so that negative 4 is a constant because it is not attached to a variable like that is. Okay. All right, and then the last little bit of previous stuff, just to recall, double negatives are positive. Okay, so like in this example, if you have 2 minus negative 5, that is the same thing as 2 plus 5, which would equal 7. Okay, here's just another example. I realize I only did addition and subtraction there, but if you had like multiplication, so negative 3 times negative 4, okay, negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12 because two negatives is a positive. All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and jump right into solving our two-step equations. Okay, so just like with one-step equations, we've got we've got some steps to do. All right, so the first thing is you want to get all constants on one side and all variable terms on the other. Okay, you're going to use inverse operations to do that. Okay, this step 1 is going to be addition and subtraction. Okay, so step 1's got to be addition and subtraction if that's available. Okay, only if that is available and makes sense to do. All right, and we'll go into that as I give an example. All right, step 2 is going to be to isolate the variable using inverse operations. Okay, so both of those blanks are inverse. All right, that step 2, is going to be multiplication and division. Okay, and then step 3 is to show all cancellations. Basically, that just means show your work. And yeah, that's it. Okay, so show your work on both sides. All right. Okay, so I've come up with just a little easy example for us to do together. All right, so it's going to be 5x minus 6 equals 19. I'm just going to walk you through this with the steps next to it, and then we will do the examples down below as well. All right, so for 5x minus 6 equals 19, step 1 is get all constants on one side and all variable terms on the other side. All right, you're going to use inverse operations to do that. So first you got to know which ones are constants and which ones are variable terms. All right, so the variable terms, that's going to be this 5x, okay, because it's a variable, the x, and the 5 is attached to it. All right, and then the I keep saying that. The constant is going to be this negative 6, okay? That's because it's not attached to that x. All right, so the first step is to get all the constants onto the other side away from the variable terms. All right, so to do that, we're going to do inverse operations. The inverse of that subtraction sign that we have right there is addition. Okay, so that's going to be plus 6 to both sides. Okay, So you're going to be left with 5x equals 25. All right, now we've just got ourselves a one-step equation. Okay, at this point, you should recognize this as what we did in 2.1, but to go ahead and follow the steps, we're going to isolate the variable using inverse operations. Again, when we isolate the variable, that's going to be multiplication or division. All right, and that means we need to undo this multiplication of 5 times x. The way we do that is with division. Okay, so divide both by 5. That will leave us with x equals 5 because we do it to both sides. All right, and that is also step 3. So show all cancellations. That would be that. Okay, so just crossing that out shows the cancellation. Okay, and there you have it. That is it for that example. All right, so it's not too much, especially once you get the hang of it. I think these are pretty fun, but you got to get the hang of it first. All right, so we'll move on to these examples. Okay, so 5r plus 15 equals 40. I'm going to go through them without showing you those steps on the screen, and I kind of want you to keep those steps in mind and just keep track of where I'm at. All right, so the first one, we've got 5r plus 15 equals 40. So I'm going to start by subtracting 15 from both sides. Okay, you should see which step we're at now. So we're at 5r equals 40 minus 15, which is 25. Okay, and then the next step would be to divide by 5 on both sides. All right, and then we're going to be left with r equals 5 once we do that cancellation. Okay, so there's the first example. Again, pretty simple. Hopefully you were able to see the steps. Okay, so again, just in case you missed them while I was doing it, we get all the constants on one side and variable terms on the other. That I did by subtracting 15. Okay, because remember, subtraction and addition does that step. So I did subtraction for this one. Okay, the next one was isolate the variable using inverse operations. I divided that 5r by 5 because 5 times r, the inverse operation of that is division, which you have right here. Okay, so that was those steps. And then lastly, I canceled out, which was step 3. All right. Okay, and then this last example before you go and do some on your own. We have negative x plus 11 equals 7. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to subtract that 11 from both sides. Okay, hopefully you can see where I'm at right now with the steps. That's going to cancel, and it's going to leave us with negative 2x equals negative 4. All right, next I have negative 2x. Okay, that can be undone with the division property of equality. Okay, so that is going to be division by negative 2. Remember, you got to do that negative. Okay, so divide both sides by negative 2. Again, 2 negatives make a positive, so there's positives there and positives there. All right, the 2 and the 2 cancel, so you're left with x equals 2. All right, and that is it. Okay, so go ahead and practice with problem 1 and problem 2 on your own. Take a couple minutes to do that, and once you've done that, we will meet back up as a class and we will talk about those, and I will see you there.